Let's see, guys. We have high impact news at 8:30. 10 more minutes to go for the high impact news. Let's see at that time how they make the move. That move will going to be the manipulative move. That's what I think. But currently, we can take out this sell side and try to move lower. Let's see. Yeah, we are taking this out. Let's see if we can take all these lows out. Come inside this and then try to move higher and take out these relative equal highs and these highs. Let's see. That will be interesting to watch. Let's see. Let's see. This week till now is was pretty choppy and back and forth kind of week because we had bank holiday on Tuesday and there was no high or medium impact news on Wednesday. And we have seen that there is shutdown going on in US. So that is also impacting these news and events because when there is this kind of shutdown, then they like then then they can manipulate the timings, right? The report which comes at 8:30 on some days when there is shutdown, they will not gonna break that news on that day. So we have to also keep all these things in mind. But let's see, what we care most is about the time and price. So let's see. A bump lower would be interesting. Let's see. 6 more minutes to go. Let's see. This 4 hour candle is going to close in at 9. So one half an hour left for this 4 hour and 4 hour candle to close. Let's see how we react at 8:30. That would be interesting to watch. Let's check how this sell side imbalance sell side imbalance buy side inefficiency reacts. How price reacts inside this CB, and this candle should also support the prices lower. Looks like it. So we just wick through that and bodies are still higher. Yeah. So this gap right here is acting as the sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, and look at that, bodies of the candle is staying below the midpoint of that gap, that is CB, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. Bodies of the candle is staying below the midpoint of that gap, which is a good sign for us. But this high is also possible later today. Okay, this is the buy side liquidity from the London. So that is the buy side liquidity. Sorry. That's the buy side liquidity from the London session today. Look at that, these are relatively equal highs right there. Let's see how this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency reacts. That is pretty much important for us. This gap is pretty much important for us. If it wants to move lower, it should not close above the midpoint of this gap, of this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. But if it wants to move higher, then it should completely disrupt this and starts to move higher. So that is the reason why this gap is pretty much important. If it breaks on the upside, then it might act as the inversion and it will support the prices higher, taking out buy side. But it needs to break this on the closing basis. Look at that, body stayed below the midpoint of that gap. That is why I told you guys that this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency is pretty important at this moment right here. 2 more minutes left now. See, let's see. Let me read out my trading plan. So first and foremost thing is mental capital is superior or greater than the money capital or the monetary capital. Preserve it. Okay. Loss is just a tax and profit is not the source for the excitement. Keep that in mind. Still, that sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency is still holding the prices lower. Trading is business. It is not a place to satisfy your ego. Okay? Outcome is irrelevant, process is relevant. Let's see, guys. We are going to have that 8:30 candle. Let's see if they do some big moves either sides. But this gap is pretty much important, guys. How this candle closes. Okay. Still, it is holding the prices lower. 8:30, we did not got some big push. We are still below the midpoint of that gap. Let's see. Wicks are allowed to do the damage, but how body will close, that is very much important. How bodies are gonna close, that is pretty much important. Look at that. bodies are coming below the 50% of that sell side imbalance buy side inefficiency. Okay, so we closed below the 50% of this gap right here. Let's see. Let it send it lower, taking out the lows. Looks like it, because the bodies of the candle is staying below the midpoint of this sell side imbalance buy side inefficiency. That I told you, no, but we did not got some very big moves at 8:30 candle, so which is good. It means that at 9:30 we might get some move on the upside. So currently the bodies of the candle stayed below the midpoint of this gap and prices are trying to move lower, just like that. Prices are trying to move lower. Look at that. I told you, no, if the bodies of the candle stays below the midpoint of this gap, then we will gonna move lower, and that is what happened. Okay, so that was a decent move happened from this, because I told you, know, the bodies of the candle, if it closes above it, then it might act as the inversion. But look at that, not a single body of the candle closed above the midpoint of this gap. Look at that. Wicks are allowed to do the damage, guys. Wicks are allowed to do the damage. But look at the bodies. How this can be possibly, I mean, how this can be possible with buying and selling pressure? How everyone can agree on the closing basis of the candle that it should remain below this? That is algorithmic, guys. And look at that. Told you it will move lower, looks like it, and it did move lower. It moved lower just like that. Look at that. The bodies of the candle stayed inside the lower half, below the midpoint of that gap. So that was the underpinning of the marketplace, suggesting lower prices. This is how smart money tracks, and this is how high frequency algorithms trade, guys. Just like that, taking out these lows, and on 15-minute told you to look for these right here. So that was a decent move, but I did not push the button because I'm waiting for some kind of reversal pattern going to take out some form of buy side. That's what I'm looking at as of now. But that moving lower now. Because if it wants to move higher inside the 950 to 1010 macro or at 930, like, if you know, you know, if it wants to move higher, then this move lower is very much beneficial for us. Okay, it is not bad that it is moving lower. Currently, how beautifully this inefficiency tried to hold the prices and send it lower. You know, you don't need to trust me. Okay, just go back, rewind the stream, and you will gonna find this out what I said. And exactly these were my words, that if bodies of the candle closes below the midpoint of this gap, then we can see some lower prices. And exactly we move from the 470 to below this low 432, almost 40 points. Now let's see how this inefficiency right here, okay, how it closes and how it reacts, because we have taken out London sell side. And let me just grade this wick right there. That's the 15-minute wick, and let me make a clone of it. I have just graded both that wicks. Let's see. Okay, it is pretty much important for this inefficiency to get breached on the completely on the upside if it wants to move higher. If not, then it should stay below the midpoint of this gap of this sell side imbalance buy side inefficiency. Let's see. Currently this inefficiency is sending the prices lower. Okay, so this is the opening range from 7 to 7:30. Let me also mark this right here. That's 7, and we have this right here. Now this swing high is pretty much important for us, whether it gonna stay untagged or they will gonna completely broke it and prices then should start to move higher. That will be interesting to watch for. And I'm just marking out the pre-market session. Okay, this was the opening range and broke this, came in around half one standard deviation. Now let me check 15-minute for once. Okay, so we have this. There is lots of pool of liquidity, like sell side liquidity pools below this. So if they will take out now, if they will come around here like -2 and -2.5 standard deviation of this opening range from 7 to 730, that will be a pretty decent area to take longs. Okay, but let's see how this swing high and this inefficiency reacts. And if price wants to move lower now, then it should just break this midpoint of that wick which I have graded from 15 minute. It should break this on the downside, come up, take some resistance, and then move lower. Look at that. Now the bodies of candles should break that 0.5% level, is the midpoint of that wick. Look at that, bodies of the candle just consolidating around here, because this 4-hour candle is going to close at 9. This big black candle which you are seeing, this is representing the 4-hour. So let's watch it out. It is just consolidating between these gradient levels of the twig. But that it is currently just doing that back and forth kind of price action. So it's totally avoidable now. It needs to break either of these levels, okay? This or this. Okay, it is attempting to break this high now. And similarly, as the bodies of the candle stayed below the midpoint of that gap, in same way, the wick which I have graded on 15 minutes, the bodies of the candle is staying above the midpoint of that wick, which is also inefficiency. Let's see if we can move higher now. Now I'm looking for higher prices. 850 to 910 should spool the prices higher. That's what I'm looking for. Inside 850 to 910, so try to spool it higher. Now this gap is pretty much important. The bodies of the candle should stay above the midpoint of this gap or did not even come and touch it or start to spool it higher. 850 to 910 should start to spool prices higher. Yeah, just like that. It should break this gap, should break above that. Should break this gap completely on the upside. Yeah. क्या हो जाएगा यही तो. Let's see, guys. As told you, 850 to 910 should start to spool the prices higher. That's the 850. Okay, it is reacting from the midpoint of this gap, but this gap got breached on the downside. Let's see, this is the last line of defense for me. This gap, second gap below that, should immediately react on the upside, breaking out this high, and specifically this should break this on the upside. Okay, S&P just completely broke that. See, let's see. Right here, this gap is the buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, and it is also the suspension block. Okay, and this down close candle should support the prices higher. Should break this completely on the upside, man. Completely on the upside. Let's see if at 9 we can get some big candles on the upside. This gap should get completely breaked on the upside. Should not respect it. Should completely move higher and try to break this high as soon as possible. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this gap to get completely breaked on the upside. This gap right here. Currently that is not happening. Trying to take resistance from this. I told you this was my last line of defense. To react on the upside. 5 more minutes to go. Okay, the bodies of the candle should stay above this midpoint of this gap. Let me check the 3 minutes. Okay, that's the case. Let me check. 15 did some good move on the upside. I've exited this. Okay, it got breaked on the upside completely. Now it's time to wait out. Okay, it is moving lower. Does not want to move higher. But that is fine. That is totally fine. I am just the observer, okay? I'm just the observer. So I have to be very much neutral, okay, about my profits or losses, because market will gonna do whatever it will gonna do, okay? None of it matters who buys it or who sells it. It will gonna do whatever the fuck it wants to do. It can do that, okay? It can rip 200 points lower, can just move 400 points higher. Anything can happen. That is the uncertainty of this business. So you have to keep that in mind and don't get impacted by that, okay? Don't get impacted by these things. Okay, it is moving lower. It is moving lower. I thought they will gonna spool it higher inside the 850 to 910, and they are spooling it lower. So I got it wrong. I got it wrong. And that is totally fine, because I know that these things will gonna repeat again in the future. These same signatures of price action, okay, will gonna repeat themselves in the future. I just have to be present in front of them when they are there in the low resistance liquidity run conditions. Then it's pretty much beautiful for us. Trade that. But look at that, it is pulling lower prices. It took out that 15-minute low now. Look at that. Took out that low right there. So we have taken out previous day high. Now I'm just switching this to this candle right here. On the Tuesday's wick from that 15-minute, and let's see now how it reacts. like we're gonna move it higher. Okay, now we have this new candle is open at 9. This is the new 4-hour candle. Let's see how this will gonna play out. We have this macro till 9:10. That's the macro time. Let's see how this candle 9 a.m. candle gets treated. Let's see, guys. Just give me a second, guys. Now again we have this back and forth kind of price action. But if it wants to move higher, then this down move is good for us. But if we come around here, then it will be more good for us. Right here, it comes there. Now again, I'm looking for this swing high right here. How it gets treated on the side. Okay, guys, I'm just taking a small smoke break. I will be back just within 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, we are dumping it lower. Just like that, we are dumping it lower inside that weekly buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, which is good for us. Here, this looks weak now. See this 3 minutes. Okay, so as told you guys when price was here that we have these lot of pools of sell side below got taken out. Let's see if we can take out this Monday low as well. That would be good. And let me also mark the Sunday's opening price, which is right here. The opening price for Sunday is 25,121. Okay, so we have taken out the Monday's high as well. Sorry, Monday's low as well. What a smooth move that was. Pretty smooth. I got it wrong on the upside. I thought that it would start to move higher, but that is fine. It started to spool lower, and look at that how beautifully it spooled it lower. Let me remove this. Let's see. So now we have this macro which got ended at 9:10. So from 8:50 to 9:10 we have this beautiful spooling effect on the downside. Now let's see, we have completed our this macro. Let's see if we can now move higher. We can move higher now. We could. Let's see now, this gap should get completely breaked on the upside. But we need some big push on the upside now, guys. Some real big push on the upside. What I'm looking for. If this inefficiency does not get completely butchered and it stay open, okay, then we have the good chances that it will move higher and take out a bit higher now. Let's see, currently dallying around that. This down close candle, let's see if it supports the prices higher. I think we should wait for the opening, man. Looks like it, we have to wait for the opening. Let's see, currently they are not breaking the sell side imbalances on the upside completely. It would be better for us to wait for 9:30 now, because I've tried it two times and they just completely nullified it. They, if we move it this time, let's see, man. Now this should fire. What I'm looking at now, this down close candle should also support the prices. Hovering around that. Let's see how this candle closes. Five minutes. I'm just expecting one push higher. Should break this inefficiency on the upside completely with a big bullish candle. That's what I'm looking at. Again, it is just hovering around that area. Okay, it's sending it higher. I was expecting some big candles. It is just dilly dallying around that area, which is not good. Let's see. Because now retailers are trying to sell. We need immediate reaction on the upside. But what I am looking for is not happening, guys. I don't like this kind of move where it is just breaking through this gap. It is not able to close this. So let's see. Yes. Again, it should not just break through it, man. It should close it. Close as a just wicking, man. It's just wicking through that gap. Let's see if they can continue to move higher, break out that high. Let's see, guys. Let's see. We want this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency to completely got butchered on the upside. Okay, this right here. It should get completely braked on the upside and it should act as the inversion. This should act as the inversion right there. this gap, bodies of the candle should stay above this gap and should start to spool it higher. Bodies of the candle should stay above the midpoint of that gap. Should immediately react on the upside. Now this candle low should not get breached, should only stay above it, and it should start to spool higher. Immediate reaction is what I'm looking for. Yes, just like that, it should spool it higher. Big candles on the upside, just like that, just like that. Told you guys. Big candles now we want. A big bullish candle on the upside. See, you can completely break this gap on the upside. To close on the upside, man. Not come below this gap now. It should react on the upside from the high of this gap. React on the upside. Breaking out this high. This down close candle should support the prices higher. Yes, pull it higher. Break this high and then try to expand higher. What I'm looking for. See, break that high. Above that high, I will look to take some partials. I mean, above this opening price and this high. See, they're breaking it down now. Not wanted this at all. So I got trailed out just like that because this, okay, look at that. The bodies of the candles stayed inside this. Now they will gonna take out the lows. 5. The US 30. Let's see how it opens at 9:30. See some big up moves also. Like that, they are spooling it higher as expected it to do. See, see, can move higher and break them out. Once again, they are breaking it lower. This 30 is moving higher. Dollar is in there, right there. Okay, move higher now. Let's see if we can break this high now. See, because NP US 30 is expanding higher. This is should also move on the side. See, to break the previous candle high. Not look at that. US 30 is making some big bullish moves. Now is the time for Nasdaq to make and break those highs out. Break those highs out now with immediate effect, man. Not just dilly dally around that area now. I don't want it to just dilly dally around that area. It should react on the upside. The candles are closing on very bad shape now. Should immediately, man, this candle should immediately react on the upside because it is just dilly dallying around that area and making it difficult to trade. also is trying to attempt to make higher prices. US 30 completely nailed it. PX and this is done. They are sending it lower. They are sending it lower. Dollar also falling. Hashtag also falling. PX also falling. Continuously sending it lower, lower, and let's see what we have inside this 950 to 1010 macro 4 hour. We are currently inside this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. That is the weekly. And let's see now how this gap reacts. We have still 12 minutes left for the 950 and 10 macro to show it a bit. Yes, we are coming for the Sunday's opening price. It looks like it. The way we are moving lower, in the same way we should move higher. Okay, guys. The same way we should move higher. Same way we are moving lower. US 30 did the exactly same move I was looking for. Let's see how it reacts inside this 950 to 10 macro. This was the bearish structure. I did not recognize it. I recognized this sell side imbalance and I told you guys we are looking for lower price. But this was a bearish structure, market structure wise. I did not recognize that. It's okay. We're gonna see what we get inside this 950 to 10. This is the midpoint of that weekly basket balance sell side inefficiency. This opening price. So we came inside that hourly liquidity void. There is liquidity void on the hourly chart of the US 100. We will look that. You will get to know that. That's the Sunday's opening price right there. Currently we are trading inside this Sunday imbalance. That is the Sunday imbalance. That is the Sunday imbalance. I'm explaining that right. And let's see now. See how this candle closes this sell side imbalance by certain efficiency. So we are inside this week's Sunday's imbalance. This is from the previous week. This is from the present week. See now. Let's see. I'm looking for this gap. Right there. That's the inversion. If that gets completely upside, then it should act as the inversion what I'm looking for. If it completely breaks, but it did not. Let's see how bodies of the candle closes. Okay, it closed below the midpoint of that gap. So still it is not inversion. Still this is sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. So see, US 30 is making higher lows while SPX and Nasdaq, I mean ES and Nasdaq is moving lower. Taking that the upside. Let's see now. Just 1 minute left for the 950 in macro to start, but it's pulling lower in a pretty fast way. See how 950 and this candle closes. 950 should spool it higher, breaking out the highs, breaking out the highs with big bullish candles which have buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiencies. I'm looking for those candles on the upside. Now this is the time, guys. This is the time for it to do its job. And the interesting thing is, after breaking this gap on the upside, bodies of the candle is staying above that. That is a good thing for us. Today it's little lagging, I don't know why. My both terminals are little lagging today. See guys, it should start to spool higher, breaking out these highs right there, like that, on the upside. That I'm reducing the risk from the trades. It should spool it higher, guys. I told you, I was looking for big candles on the upside with buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiencies. These are those candles. But today it's little lagging. I don't know why. Both terminals are little lagging. So got hanged. I don't know. It should break these highs now as soon as possible. Move higher. And if this does not get filled in now, then we have a good trade for the upside. Yes, spool it higher and break out these highs, man. Break out these highs on the upside. It should break this gap, and this gap should also act as the inversion. We just took some profits right there. Is lagging a lot. Don't want them to come below here. Keep on spooling it higher, man. Now I have booked some partials. Now I should just keep on spooling higher prices, guys. I booked some partials and now I want them to just keep on spooling higher prices and eventually take out this high which formed at 930. But this gap side, and it should also act as the inversion, guys. This gap right here is right here. The bodies of the candle is not breaking that. That is not good for us. It should break that. It should break that gap on the upside. It is coming inside that. Yes, it should immediately react, man. It should immediately react from that gap. If not, again, we will gonna get some consolidation or immediate reaction on the upside is what I'm looking for. Yes, move higher, take out the highs, take out the highs now. Yes, move higher and take out this gap completely and eventually then this. Yes, just like that. Keep on spooling higher prices. Came inside that but did not close below the midpoint of that sell, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. And now it should get breached completely, like butchered. Now the sellers will be get punished. Okay, it should break this gap, man. Should not just dilly dally around that area. It should completely break that. I am increasing my positive stop out now because I don't want them to break the low of this candle now. Should open, come down and just start to spool higher. Yes, spool higher and break out these highs. Yes, just like that. Just like that. But it should not wick through it, man. It should close on the upside with both completely bodies of the candle covering this gap on the outside. Because and this is the first this, because we can come inside this as well. This is the first presentation, first FVG, extend it right. This is the first presented fair value gap for today. We broke it higher and now it should break these. This gap should get breaked on the upside now. Let me also increase my positive stop out, because now this first presented gap is pretty much important for us. How price react inside it is pretty much important. And it should react from the midpoint of this gap on the upside. Yes, now react on the upside, breaking out this. We have this volume imbalance right here. Should break this gap on the upside, then it will be pretty much easy for this. It should break this first presentation for today. Let me just zoom in a bit so you guys can see it clearly. Should stay above the midpoint of this gap and should start to spool higher and break out this high and this fair value gap on the upside. And let me mark the opening range for today from here to here. This is the equilibrium, that's why it is consolidating right here, but it should stay above here and start to spool higher prices. Yes, borders of the candle staying outside this gap is good, but it should break this inefficiency, which is the first presented fair value gap. It is pretty much important for us that this get breaked on the upside. We have just 1 minute left for 10. Yes, should pull higher and break it on the upside. This candle is the time. This is the time, make or break. Pull it higher, break those highs and break this gap. Pull it higher, break this gap, not just wick through it, spool it higher, close it breaked, otherwise within next one or two candles this should get breaked. Otherwise my trailing SL is gonna get hit. Should now it is time. Okay, so my trailing SL got hit, but it's fine, man. It was a tough day at work. Okay, so now my trailing SL is got hit. I'm out. Now I'm not at all looking to push buttons now because I have already pushed more today. So this, as I told, that this is pretty important. If they does not break that in just this or next candle, they will gonna, because we have this first presentation and also one more first presentation from the previous week. So this becomes the important area. Okay, that was the SMT also. Let me show you guys what SMT is. There is issue with my